Welcome to a conversation with a community leader, sponsored by Leadership Kitsap. My name is Cary Bozeman, and I'm the host, and I'm the former mayor of Bremerton, Washington, and Bellevue, Washington. And my guest today is Captain. I get that right, Dana? Captain.
Yes.
It's Captain Dana Walters, who is the head of the Bremerton Salvation Army in downtown Bremerton. Is that correct?
Yes, it is, along with my husband, Captain Lance. Mm-hmm.
That's right. You guys are doing it together. It seems like the people that run the Bremerton Salvation Army are couples in the last many years.
Yes, and I mean, the Salvation Army does have officers who are single. It just so happens that you guys have gotten couples.
Yeah, we have. Hey, listen, before we talk about the Salvation Army, which I'm really interested in, I really appreciate you coming on the show. What is your background? What brought you guys to Kitsap County? What got you into the Salvation Army?
Wow, that's a lot of questions. But first, I want to say thanks so much for having us and just letting us speak about the Salvation Army, what we're doing here in Kitsap County. And we've been married like 36 years. Most of our life has been part of ministry, has always been a part of our life. And about 15 years ago, we moved to Denver to retire. And there was a Salvation Army up on the corner, and we didn't even know the Salvation Army was a church. We wondered why there was people there on Sunday. I said, why, I don't know. And so one day, Lance was coming home from work, and he stopped by and chatted with them. And he came home. He said, "Hey, we need to go there on Sunday." And I said, "I'm not going to a thrift store for church." And he said, "It's not a thrift store." And when we went in, we just fell in love with their heart and their passion for people, just their care and concern with. And I think the really big piece for us was without discrimination, that everybody was welcome. And so we just never stopped going. And a few years later, they asked us if we wanted to be officers, which in the Salvation Army is kind of like leaders. And so we went to college for 2 years, Salvation Army College. And then we were stationed in Alaska, in Juneau for 4 years, and then in Fairbanks for 2. And then we were moved here 2.5 years ago. So we're super excited to be here.
When you move around like that, do you have a choice, or are you assigned without a choice?
Well, pretty much we're assigned, but we had always wanted to go to Alaska. That was our dream. So we were very excited, and they did send us there. I actually spent a summer in Bremerton as a teenager. My aunt lived here, and my cousin still does. So it was great to be sent back here. It was like, oh, I think I have a little bit of a flavor of Bremerton. Yeah. So, yeah.
What is the mission of the Salvation Army? And I did a little research, and it seems like it started in London, in England, back in the 1800s. So what's the mission? What's your mission?
So the mission of the Salvation Army has really been to reach the people who may not be reached by others, and to love them where they're at, and to maybe help them to grow. In the 1800s, William Booth, 1850s, 60s, William Booth was a Methodist pastor who decided not to be in church anymore. And he moved to the East End of London, which was where the docks were, and began to just go down and talk with people. And of course, we're a Christian organization. So, wanted to introduce them to Jesus and the Christian walk. And so really began to embrace them and love on them. Bring them, to a place. The term falling off the wagon comes from the Salvation Army, because we would literally go and get people who were drunk, laying in the gutter, bring them, put them on the wagon, bring them in, feed them, and all those things. So his heart was really for those people that were just in poverty, and oftentimes generational poverty. We also had women who went into the homes there, because people didn't really understand sanitation, hygiene, how to, help raise their families. So we had women who came alongside them and said, "Hey, this is what you can do." So it just really was based in what we would call social holiness. A holiness we think of, oh, I'm holier than thou, but really we believe that God is an action, right? And love is an action. And if you're going to love somebody, you need to be a part of their life. And you need to meet them right where they're at. And so that's really how it began.
So the Salvation Army is a Christian organization.
Yes.
right? A Protestant Christian organization.
Yes.
Do you have services at the Salvation Army facility?
We do. My husband and I are both ordained pastors, and
Oh
we
my
take
gosh.
turns preaching every other week. So yes, the Salvation Army, we do have. Now, that being said, we do not require anyone who comes to our shelter or for services to in any way embrace our faith. We do what we do because of our faith, but we don't require that, as something that people have to embrace to be a part of what we do.
So do you have a chapel inside the facility?
We do. It's
Huh?
lovely.
Huh? You ever
And
marry anybody in there?
in this one, no. In Alaska, yes. Most of the time we've been here has been the pandemic.
Yeah.
So we have done a really awesome memorial service for many of the people that we've lost, as well as animals that our guests have lost, and that was really beautiful. So I think that was neat. And we have many. Well, before pandemic, we had a lot of our guests who come to our service. Now it's a little bit less because it's a pandemic, right?
Yeah. Uh, there's three other Salvation. You're the only Salvation Army in Kitsap County.
Yes.
There is one in Seattle. Are they kind of the headquarters for this region, and how does that relationship work?
That's a great question. And I think it can be confusing. The Salvation Army we're actually in 137 countries. In the United States, we're divided into territories. We are in the Western Territory, and within that, there are divisions. So we are in the Northwest Division, which is headquartered in Seattle. They are really our support system. They do our finances for us and a lot of things so that we're just can be on the ground working. So we are just so supported by them. They just have financial help, social services, everything we do. They have a head over there that knows what they're doing. So they're just a huge support to us.
Do they just have one facility also in Seattle? One?
No, they have multiple centers. They have our divisional headquarters, but then they have the Soto shelter, which is the old Tesla building, which I think is housing like 200 or 300 people. Honestly, I'm not quite sure what the numbers, but I know it's huge. They have the William Booth Center. Yes, they have.
Is there a national headquarters in the United States?
There is in Virginia, where it's our national headquarters, and then in London is still our international headquarters.
Okay. Do you get funding from the national organization, or is it all local?
We do get, yes, some of it comes down, and I have to be honest, I'm not very good with those numbers. I know that everything that's donated locally stays locally, but I know that people give in general to the Salvation Army, nationally. And so I know that those trickle down, but honestly, I'm not sure what the percentages are or how that works. So, but we do get supported by them.
So I've been in your facility a few times when I was mayor, and you built an addition to that facility, right?
Mm-hmm.
For those people who haven't been in the facility, can you describe what you have in the facility?
Oh, sure. I think probably the most wonderful addition, of course, we were not here before and we never saw the old facility. We've seen pictures. It really needed an upgrade. Probably one of the most, I just think, wonderful parts of what we have now is a hygiene center. We have two shower bathrooms, and then one that is the third one is for handicapped accessible, where people can come in and take a shower. We do their laundry. It is, to me, a place of dignity, because when you live on the streets, you don't always have access to hygiene. And we all know how good it feels to take a shower and feel clean, right, after we've been working in the yard or doing whatever. So I think that it is a basis of just feeling good about yourself. And I really love that we have that.
You get a lot of homeless people that come in to shower and clean up and get a meal, right?
Absolutely. So if I can stray a little bit, talking about the facility, one thing we've been doing is since March of 2019, we've been running an emergency temporary COVID shelter for the homeless. If you remember at the beginning of the pandemic, the governor's statement was, stay home and stay safe. Well, homeless people don't have a place to stay home and stay safe. So the county contracted with us as well as the Kitsap Rescue Mission to be that place where people can stay home and stay safe. So we've been sheltering since then. So that's almost 2 years. We've provided, I did get numbers because I think they're staggering. If somebody comes tonight, if 30 people come tonight and 30 people come tomorrow night, that would be 60 bed nights. So if you look at all those numbers since we began, we've done over 25,000 bed nights.
How many beds do you have?
We have a capacity of 77, and we actually have mats on the floor. We do not have beds. We are not set up to be a shelter at all. So we're completely, every morning we sanitize everything, break it all down, put up all the day shelter things, then people come in and stay. And then in the evening, we break all that down and then put out the mats and all that thing, and then bring everybody back in.
So they are sleeping overnight, right?
Oh, yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
You require they all wear masks when they're there?
Yes, unless you are on your mat or eating, you have to have a mask on. Mm-hmm.
Are you able to provide COVID shots if anyone wants them?
We have had, and I apologize, I'm not sure if it was the health department, PCHS, whomever, but they have come and done vaccine clinics here. Yes, absolutely. We have had vaccine testing here, which has been very helpful. The county and the city, they're just super supportive.
Are you seeing a big increase in homelessness in the downtown area?
Wow. I like I said, we've only been here 2.5 years, and we see people come and go. As far as an increase, I'm not really sure. I think there's an increase in need for services because so many things are closed because of COVID. And so we've probably seen, I would say, definitely an increase in need. I'm not sure if that would be.
Going back to the meals again, you serve a breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Are you open for all those meals?
Yes, sir. 7 days a week. We've done about 116,000 meals in the last 2 years.
Wow.
Since last March.
So people could just walk in, get a free meal, and walk out, huh?
Absolutely. Yep.
That's a wonderful service. So you've got a pretty sizable operation here. How much? You know what your budget is and how many people you have working there?
Yes. So we have about 23 employees who are vary from shelter workers to custodians to we have a staff in the kitchen for cooking, our hygiene center attendant, and we also have, although they're not employed by us, we have 24/7 security on premises. Which is super important because sometimes, our guests can have challenges that we can't deal with. And
how do you do that? Do you hire an outside security firm?
Yes, we have a contract with an outside security firm to come in and help us. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And as far as our budget, we are, I think last year, about 2.4 million. That we spent working through, just housing in the pandemic. Mm-hmm.
2.4 million.
Mm-hmm.
And I would guess that a lot of your services are you need a lot of volunteers, right?
We do, and we lost so many volunteers when the pandemic happened. And so they're just starting to trickle back in, but we would love to have volunteers. Yes.
So how does someone volunteer? Do they just call your office or call the Salvation Army?
Yes, they can call our office and we will get them. All of our volunteers are screened. We serve a very vulnerable population, although they're not vulnerable children, they're vulnerable adults. And so we screen all of our volunteers to make sure that they are, safe but for our people. So they would just call our office and start the process. Mm-hmm.
Well, do they have to be vaccinated?
The Salvation Army does not require that, no. We don't require anyone here to be vaccinated. We allow people to just make that their decision. And whether that change is coming from, at this point, no.
So going back to all the meals you provide, you must have some professional cooks, right? A big staff of people working in the kitchen.
Actually, we do not have a huge staff. Our operations director, Victor Vayona, is actually a professional chef, and so he oversees our feeding program. We have one cook, Sally, who is funny because a lot of people call Salvation Army Sally. So Sally Joe Murray, and she does most of our meals. And then at night, Victor will cook. Sometimes actually Captain Lance is learning to get in there in the kitchen, and he does breakfasts and stuff when we need to. So we would love to hire another cook. We've been trying, but not been able to find anyone. So, yeah.
Do you take, is any of this food donated? Do you take donated food for the kitchen? How does that work?
We have some great organizations that support us. New Day Church, they bring food down on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and prepared food, and then we box it up and serve it or put it out on trays, depending on the time of year. And then also the Lord's Diner, they come and actually prepare, they use our food, but they prepare a meal, do the work on Saturdays. And Mary's Place, which is located up at Our Lady Star of the Sea, they prepare a meal for the community on Mondays. So many of our people go up there, but the people who can't, we go up there and get meals for them and bring them here. So
if people wanted to just come and bring you a bunch of groceries, canned foods, or all that kind of thing, would you be able to accept that?
Yes, we would. We generally buy in bulk, the giant cans and stuff. We just cannot accept things that are made in a kitchen. Like somebody would say, oh, I want to make, 5,000 chocolate chip cookies. Yeah, but they have to be cooked in a commercial kitchen for us to be able to receive them. So that's the only thing. But if it's just, non-perishables, that's wonderful. We can always use those. Absolutely.
We're getting into winter. And I know a lot of these people don't have enough clothing or jackets. Do you take that kind of donation from people? Clothing, jackets, shoes?
Wow. Thank you for asking that, because I would really love the community to know. First of all, many people want to donate because they think we have a thrift store, but we do not. And so we do receive jackets that have the buttons or the zippers that are working, and those sorts of things. We don't generally always receive clothing because we have a lot of it. And so right now, we're not receiving clothing. We are receiving jackets. We're always taking brand new socks, brand new underwear, because those things go every day. But other than that, jackets are really important. They're great. And rain jackets, just those things that you can think of, shoes that don't have holes. Yeah. Boots, snow boots.
You have, I would guess you have more men that come in than women. Is that true, or what's the ratio?
We have probably about 63% men to the ratio of women. Mm-hmm.
What about, I know we've had a homeless youth challenge in our community. Do the homeless kids come in, and can you serve them?
We do not allow 18 or under into our shelter. We are a low barrier shelter, which means that anyone as an adult can come in here, whether they're intoxicated or possibly, high from drugs. We have registered sex offenders here. We have unregistered sex offenders here. So we try to be really cautious about allowing minors to be in here. Whenever a minor comes to us, we try to refer them to Coffee Oasis, because that is really what they do, is work with homeless youth. But of course, we always keep them warm until we get them there, and we're happy to feed them a meal, but we don't allow them to stay on premises. It's just not a safe place.
Is there a place for the homeless kids to go at night and have a bed to sleep in? Is there any place like that?
Coffee Oasis does provide that, and I can't tell you a lot about their program, but I know that it is primarily, it is all about youth, and they're great people there. We met them and talked to them, and so that would be where
they do a great job there, no doubt about it. I need to talk to those people too one day. So you're serving food, you're providing overnight sleeping for people. What other main programs do you provide there?
Well, I think probably the biggest thing that we do, I would say the biggest thing we do is we just care for people right where they're at, and we love them.
You do what? I didn't hear that.
Oh, I'm sorry. We just care for the people right where they're at and meet their needs. We hope that as people come to the place where possibly they want to get housing or they want to go into treatment, that we will walk alongside them through that process. We have an awesome social service department, and they are so knowledgeable about all the resources that are available in Kitsap County and can direct people to those kind of assistances. We've had a lot of people come through here who have gone into treatment or into their housing. So that is a big part of what we do as well.
Do you have a nurse or any kind of medical support in your program?
We do not. And that is a challenge because oftentimes when homeless people are released from the hospital, they have nowhere to go. And so they end up here. And we try to help them as much as we can, but we are not medical personnel. We can't wrap their wounds. We can't, do any of those things. We do partner with Washington Family Medicine. Okay, I can't think of it. Anyway, it's a group of people, and they will come in once a week or once a month now, I think, and they will see our clients and see if they have, any medical needs that they can deal with. And so that's super helpful. Yeah.
I would guess if you're got 30 or 40 or 50 people there at night, somebody's going to get sick or in trouble, have health issues, and you probably got to call 911 and get the city firefighters down there, right?
Yes, we are running about 60 people in our shelter now a night. And we have just finished having a flu outbreak, which was lots of fun, a tummy flu outbreak, which was not lots of fun.
Gosh.
But in general, we do have people with a lot of health issues. And so EMS is called here regularly. What we've tried to do is what we have done is we have arranged with Harborside Taxi that they will transport our people to the hospital for a certain amount of money, and that way it stops the EMS system from having to come here for a non-emergent thing.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, so we've spent literally hundreds of dollars transporting people. G2 is another Gather Together, Grow Together. They come and they transport our people for us, and so that we're trying to take that burden off the EMS system, but of course some things we just can't manage, and they come regularly.
You lock the door at a certain time at night where nobody else can come in?
We do. We check in for our night shelter from 7 to 8:45. And there's always going to be the emergency. A lot of times the police will bring someone who, needs a place, and we bring them in and we take them. But for the, for the most part, 8:45, we're stopping to shelter. Mm-hmm.
Are most of the people that come in, I mean, they're down and out, obviously, they've got problems, but do they not cause problems? Are they willing to work with you? Are they willing to follow the rules, all that sort of thing?
The majority of our people are. The majority of our people, I really believe, are people who have had trauma in their life, or for whatever reason, they're in this place in their life where they don't have a home to go to. A lot of times that's financial. So most of these people are just happy to have a place to come and be cared for. And so they abide by the boundaries that we have and everything. And then we have people who sometimes can't manage to be in a place because they don't have the mental health capacity to be in a room with a lot of people. So sometimes those people can get violent. That's why we have our security on staff standby. And sometimes we have to call the police because they're just, are out of control. It happens, but it's definitely not the majority. It's definitely the minority.
That's good to know. The Kitsap rescue mission was down located near you. I don't know if they still are. I think they're moving, I think. But have you got a working relationship with them? I mean, they're doing a lot of what you're doing also.
Yes, very much. They're doing the same thing. And we do have a working relationship with them. And I would say it's even more than a working relationship. We have a deep respect for what they do. And I think that's a mutual. We talk to, the rescue mission if we have a person who needs a particular thing that they might have something, that better fits them or different things. So we're in regular communication with them. Absolutely. Yeah, they're a great organization.
Would you generally say we need more facilities like what Salvation Army is providing in our region? Are we short?
Yeah. Honestly, I am so excited about Pendleton Place that's coming, which is going to be wraparound services for, I believe, like 71 people. I think that is just a great way to be able to house people and people who may not be able to function in a housing situation on their own. I think that's one of our biggest challenges is that people don't know how to maybe work, keep a job, have work ethic. They don't have experience in that. That's never been modeled for them. All of those things that go with that, the substance abuse, the mental health. We have to address that from a big picture of it's not just putting someone in a house, but it's helping them to get healed and helping them to get to a place where they can, as much as they can, with realistic expectations, manage themselves.
Do you accept private donations from people? Like if I wanted to write you a check for $100 or something like that?
I'm happy to take your money.
That's what I
Yes.
That's what I figured. And you have a board of directors. I know one person on your board. Elaine's on your board. My assistant at the city for years.
Yes, Elaine, with all of her experience of taking care of all of our mayors, is an amazing addition to our board. We have one of the best advisory boards actually in the Northwest Division. They are amazing, and our people at our divisional headquarters will tell you that they're amazing. They're engaged, they care, and they're just wonderful. Yeah, so.
Well, I just want to say you're one of the organizations that I just so admire, and you're doing very difficult work but it's so needed. And I've never slept out in the street at night in a cold night, but my gosh, I can only imagine what that could be like. So the fact that you're there with a hot meal, and a bed, it's just such a worthy thing you're doing. And I want to thank you, and I want to thank your staff and all your volunteers. And I wish you well. And I hope you and your husband like Kitsap County. Do you like Kitsap County?
We do. We do what we've gotten to see. We've been so busy since we've gotten here. We haven't had a chance to explore a lot, but so far so good.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate having you on our show, Dana. And as I said before, bless you and your husband and all your volunteers. You guys are just doing great work. So thank you so much.
And thanks for getting the word out there. We appreciate you. Thanks.
Absolutely. So this has been another conversation with a community leader, and boy, you guys are community leaders. So thank you, and we'll see you next time on a conversation with another community leader.